Sports, and I'm glad to see that Vici Gaming are going to go back for this big wizard. He hasn't been seen too much in the last couple of patches. Basically, teams that feel really comfortable with the Invoker will maybe go for the Quoth Wex Invoker and try and run around with the Orchid and Ghostwalk combination and pick off heroes. Do you think there's any room for the Exort Invoker in this current patch?
I think you might actually go Exort, because I think you need some... I think you need damage, but I could see like Quoth Wex being okay too. It just kind of depends on what their last pick is.
The biggest fear for me is that Quoth Wex, if you go for that Ghostwalk Orchid style, it's not particularly good versus all-in pushes, right? 5-man pushes, you're more focused on getting pickoffs, so you want the enemy to be split up, and Team Empire could actually go for that kind of all-in. Beastmaster is a pickoff-oriented hero, but it gives you a lot of team fight, and obviously Luna especially prioritizes team fights, mid-game team fights, and pushes as a carry. Even if she is, a pretty decent late-game carry, I think her biggest peak of strength is definitely going in mid-game, where that ultimate and the pushing power she gives is just, not many other heroes can really match it. It's kind of similar to a Drow Ranger, I think, in that regard.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned for... something I want to touch about, actually, before I go on to what I'm concerned about, is that I think with Empire, again, what they're prioritizing over anything is, let's try to get as strong as lanes as we can. Let's have heroes that are flexible, right? Because the Queen of Pain can pretty much go in any role.
Yep.
She can play the off lane, she can play the carry, she can play the mid. Beastmaster is similar in that regard. You're probably not going to run him as a carry, but you have versatility in the sense that you can go in the off lane or the mid lane. And so I think what Empire are always doing is kind of mixing up their picks, so it's difficult to kind of see what's coming straight up. From our perspective, obviously, it's easier for us to think about because we don't have like the match on the line and things like that.
Yep.
But for example, last game, Empire left their draft so open, right? Like even we didn't know if it was going to be a Beastmaster mid or an off lane, and then that decision alone completely screwed up Vici, right?
Absolutely. I think the offlane axe, that last pickup, was such a good counter to Vici Gaming's draft.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's what Empire are going for in all their drafts, is like try to pick heroes that will keep things open and give us options, because I mean, these guys aren't scrubs. They can play any type of heroes. Like I've seen Yoki play the Queen of Pain. I've seen him play the Beastmaster. Like I've seen pretty much everyone on their team play a combination of those two heroes.
Now, real quickly, we'll get to your concern in a second here, but Tusk actually picked up. We said CIS region likes to run this as a 4 position. I feel like Beastmaster shouldn't be going mid up against the Invoker. Do you agree with that? Do you think there's going to be a Beastmaster offlane and Empire switching it up in that regard?
I think it might be a Beastmaster offlane. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned of is I think he's going to get zoned out really hard. But I guess the Queen of Pain would suffer from the same thing. It kind of just depends on who you prioritize farm on more. The Queen of Pain has some potential to kill the Invoker with like 2 heroes, but whereas the Beastmaster, it's a little bit shakier because the axe damage isn't fantastic. Yeah, you've got a boar, but if the Invoker decides to go Quoth Wex, or even if he goes Exort, you can like kill that boar in 2 hits. Thing looks like Pumbaa, dude. It's weak.
Vici Gaming trying to decide what their last pick is now. We're kind of expecting, at least Team Empire expected, it was going to be an off-lane Undying. Of course, it can be run as a 4 position, but Vici Gaming specifically, more likely running it as an off-laner here. That means we still have a support available to be picked up. What's really good? What's your main focus here as Vici Gaming? Do you focus on something to counter the Luna? Do you focus on something to deal with the Beastmaster and Queen of Pain pick-off potential? Is it more based on team fight, or is it more based on dealing with the pick-off strength?
I zoned out for a second because I was trying to think if Luna had a neck or not.
Vici Gaming's last pick.
Oh, Vici Gaming's last pick. I think they need... I mean, I've seen Undying run in both ways, but I think they need some sort of crowd control.
Okay.
I think they should pick an offlaner that has some way to kind of get in there and disrupt fights. Clockwork's okay, but he's not ideal. I gotta think about it. It's actually easier for me to see if I just look at the heroes, and hopefully I have some time.
Well, we had Team Empire. They actually took away the Witch Doctor, still expecting the offlane Undying, while Vici Gaming, they actually banned away.
Well, if they take a support, they need something like Venge would be okay. You need
something to deal, yeah, because it's got a decent amount of single target focus.
Okay.
All right, I'm down with this. I mean, simply because it's probably one of my favorites to see on Vici Gaming.
The Sandman?
Yep.
The FY Sandman?
So, I actually want to focus on the, we see Vici Gaming, probably defensive tri-lane with a focus on Sand King, picking up a faster Blink Dagger on FY. Mid, super. But I want to actually look at Empire's lineup and talk about this Tusk. Why do you think they picked up the 4-position Tusk? Because I don't feel like they have that many opportunities to really do a whole lot of roaming. I don't think Bane provides that much potential, do you?
Well, I think this kind of answers it. It looks like they kind of want to go aggressive tri-lane because, again, they realize that Vici have weak lanes. Like, this seems to be kind of almost arrogant by Vici. They're like, okay, we'll just go for this Sand King, Rubik, PL, which isn't the best at contesting things. Whereas, you know, Empire have the damage with the Lunar Blessing on top of the fact that Bane is one of the better setup heroes in the game. And you're going up against this hero like Sand King, who, like Enigma, wants to just farm, right? Like, you don't want to get into early engagements with Sand King, because at level 3, you want 2 levels of the Sandstorm so you can clear stacks. Certainly.
I mean, level 1 Burrow Strike is pretty poor. You really want to be able to get your 9-minute Blink Dagger with level 7, you know, Sand King. That's the ideal. So having that slowed down by pesky things like dealing with an aggro tri-lane or something like that is just something that kind of annoys the Sand King and keeps him from being able to be a 15-minute on kind of mid-game dominator.
Yeah.
Vici Gaming are going to go for a fight here over this top bounty rune. At the same time, Queen of Pain is going to be our solo bottom for now. And he may be able to pick up the bounty rune at bottom. Looks like Vici Gaming established their dominance, will be picking it up. Super grabs that bounty rune, and Yoki, seeing that, is actually going to rotate to the bottom bounty rune. Should be able to get there in time ahead of the Undying. Now this matchup, we've kind of seen it before. I'm not sure if you agreed with Hani. It was the Puck versus the Undying 1 versus 1 matchup. Very similar storyline here in that you already have a very squishy intelligence hero that is made even more susceptible by the decay, and then also the Soul Rip doing such an amazing amount of damage. Do you think Queen of Pain should win out on this matchup?
I don't play this matchup enough, and so I don't want to kind of say something and be wrong about it, but I think Yoki, once he gets Dagger, should be okay, because right now he's getting zoned out by the right clicks, but once he has Dagger, he can pretty much slow Ice, and trade efficiently.
Right. Like,
a good way to do it as a range hero is you have to kind of predict when he's going to back off and then get the right clicks in then. But when he's got 10 more move speed than you and he's running at you like a freight truck, it's a little bit harder. So I think he needs to pick up a level 2, which he's got, throw the Dagger out, and then just right-click Ice, and keep him off your back.
And it seems to already be successful. Meanwhile, at our top lane, we've got the aggro tri-lane. Always want to fly, continuing to zone out both Hao and Fenrir. Take a quick look back at bottom where Ice, man, he's such an aggressive style player in the first place, and he doesn't care about that Dagger. I just keep seeing him running at the Queen of Pain. I'm really interested to see. I feel like level 3 is going to be the biggest point in time where this is going to be determined. How? Top lane, he's going to pop the Doppelganger here. Always want to fly. He just has Brain Sap. Thought maybe he would go for the Nightmare and they might try and re-engage onto Hao by surrounding him, but he went for the Brain Sap, went for the nuke instead.
Yeah, and at bottom, Yoki finally starting to do what I said. He's got 2 levels of Dagger now, and it's been a little bit difficult, and Ice actually soul rips himself and unable to get aggressive now, and I think this is the strength of the Queen of Pain as a first 2 pickup, is that it just gives you so many options in the lane. Queen of Pain doesn't really lose to anybody in a straight up lane. Like Puck I can see, because Puck inherently doesn't do the best harass against an Undying, because he can just turn and right click you, right? Like, you're not really that afraid. But against the Queen of Pain who daggers you and he slows you down, it's a different story entirely.
Right. So the Queen of Pain definitely showing a lot more dominance. Now, Ice does pick up an Invis rune and uses it just to pick up a Deny and a little bit of Decay. Nothing major out of that. Top lane, Snowball right through 2 of them. Fenrir is going to be potentially a first blood. Another right click, Aloha Dance claims it. Now Silent does drop quite low. FY though, with just 1 Burrow Strike, couldn't do enough damage, and now he's on the run, potentially going to go down. Aloha Dance still needs another 5 seconds for that Snowball, so instead they just do some damage to Hao. Make him burn through some regen, and the rest of Empire will back up and continue. And what I love about this is that they are just simply getting more farm out of this lane. Like, they don't even need the kills necessarily. As long as they just get more farm out of this lane and keep Hao kind of shut down, keep the Sand King moving into this lane rather than stacking up, you could call it a win.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just the fact that he is out farming the Phantom Lancer by a pretty decent margin now, and the fact that you're dragging the Sand King over, it's a definite win. And I think this is the kind of playstyle that you should shoot for in this patch, is try to win the lanes as hard as you can, pick heroes that are flexible at doing so, and then just kind of deter people from getting aggressive on you. But I think Empire have like taken that philosophy to like the next level. Like they take this Queen of Pain at bottom, zones out the Ice Ice Ice, and they kind of take away the power of Ice 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 in that Ice 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 works well against dual and triple lanes, right? Because he can have outplay potential. But what is the outplay potential in a Queen of Pain versus Undying matchup?
Yeah, in a 1 versus 1 losing matchup, like the best you could do is put pressure at level 1, maybe level 2, but after that point in time, the pressure is just non-existent. You can't really keep the Queen of Pain down unless it's that kind of surprise, surprise kill with the Soul Rip, which just seems unlikely, especially with the way that Queen of Pain is still staying very healthy versus that Undying. Now, our mid matchup is very interesting because Resolution is faring very, very well against Super. He is 23-7 compared to the 21-4 on Super. A very impressive performance so far.
Yeah, I think the boar obviously helps you farm. Like, you notice you just CS with it. Getting axes. Melee heroes like this, people generally think that they lose, but if you play it in a competitive way, you just trade farm, right? You bottle crow as much as you can, you spam out axes like he's doing right now, and it's almost impossible for Super to get aggressive or zone him out at this HP range.
Aloha Dance. He really wanted to go on that middle lane, but Super, they knew he had a haste rune, so he was just kind of sitting far enough back that he wasn't willing to go on it. Now, Ice 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 is actually going to rotate around now. One of the big downsides of running a melee here, you are very far forward, and a lot of potential for that offlaner to sneak around you and potentially help get that kill. But of course, Resolution, if he just throws a boar down here or a hawk, he'll see this coming. But it seems like Resolution has just been given the heads up by his ally that, hey, the offlaner's missing, there's something going down. I doubt he's going up to top lane. He's probably trying to rotate behind you. So Resolution is just left with CSing with the boar, which he's still doing very well, top of the CS board.
Yeah, and Super actually kind of messed up there because he gave it away by walking forward really aggressively, and just that in that one moment, he's going to know. Resolution's going to know that somebody's behind him. At the same time, if you look at the timer, it's 5 minutes in. What is Ice 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 doing off the map, right? He's not going for a rune. He's not going to stack any Ancients or anything like that. Like, he doesn't really have the teammates to do Ancients. So literally, if you just kind of apply that kind of logic, you're like, okay, there's actually only one thing he could be doing right now, and that's ganking mid.
Yeah, so you just do a little bit of your own version of Sherlock Holmes, and you'll be able to piece together the puzzle that, hey, Undying's coming for that gank. Our top lane still faring very well, 33-9 on the Luna compared to our Phantom Lancer, who is 18-3. Now, the rotation's coming out, both Fenrir and Hao. See what's happening. Aloha Dance and always want to fly, want to go for a gank, but they're going to be caught here. Tornado first, always want to fly, hit by the Burrow Strike. They will be able to get this one kill. Can they get an additional one? Aloha Dance is running down the river. Hao slows him down even further with the Lance's Resolution providing a bit of backup, and it seems like Hao probably unlikely to go for that. He's going to be slowed down by the boar. They actually just want the hawk kill, and they'll get it too. Hao will take a lot of damage in return, but that's a full, that's actually a 4-man rotation. They rotated the full tri-lane down to catch those 2 supports, and they made Super move up as well to hit that initial tornado. Do you think that's worth it for Vici Gaming to get that one pick off on a support hero?
I think you have to. You can't just let Empire get over-aggressive and confident here and invade your jungle willy-nilly. Like, it's a mental thing as well. Like, if you just let a team get control of your jungle and you just concede it and say, okay, we can't do anything about this, it emboldens them. It really does. It makes it think, okay, let's just keep playing aggressive on them. These guys aren't going to do anything about it. Like, we're the best in the world, yada, yada, yada. And meanwhile, at bottom, like, Yoki just continues to get free farm, and so out of these 3 lanes, like, Empire have to know, like, they have to feel that they're winning them pretty dominantly.
What's the builds here for this Queen of Pain? You don't normally talk about builds this early on into the game, but simply because it seems like Queen of Pain is having such fun in this bottom lane, farming up, and we'll probably likely see a very strong mid game from him. He's going to get some farm. What does he build it into?
BKB would be good if he wants to just kind of keep the ball rolling. I think Aghanims is an alright option for this game. Oh, and at bottom, Ice Ice Ice!
Oh, drops low enough. They managed to get the last right click there. Yoki is not even phased. He doesn't take any damage. He still has plenty of mana. Seems like Ice 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 just way too forward, and they really have to think about moving around because top lane, they also need potentially some help. Fenrir takes that sleep off of Hao, and they will be fine. But how do you deal with this? Like, do you actually, it's essentially you are in this sort of aggro tri-lane position where you're losing your 1 versus 1 really badly. Do you rotate your own tri-lane down to bottom and then attempt to kind of put some pressure on the Queen of Pain? Do you just abandon that bottom lane and make Undying move between middle and top?
I think that Super has to be the one to rotate, but it's a little bit obvious when he goes to rotate because...
Oh, we got the snowball. How may actually fall here? He doesn't have a doppelgang, locked out by the ice shreds, but Aloha Dance, he's not going to be able to do enough right-click damage. Fortunately, that's where Silent comes in with the extra nuke. Now, they have to sleep on ice. Silent, though, is very, 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 very dead. Vici Gaming have rotated their full 5-man up to this top lane to help out How. Sure, he dies, but they get both the Tusk as well as the Luna for that. Now, we'll see whether or not Yoki is able to turn this amount of aggression from Vici Gaming to an advantage for himself.
Yeah, he's kind of just hanging out here to see if he can pick off anybody, but shouldn't find anybody low enough. And I think he actually should have just stayed bottom and continued to farm out because at this top lane, there's not much he can... Oh, actually, maybe he picks off Fenrir here.
Fenrir, like just the poison by itself seems like it should be enough. The deny will come out from How, and that was the biggest danger. He was going to die no matter what it seemed, but whether or not he got the deny now. I thought they were actually going to go for a potential snowball play in middle. The Beastmaster and Tusk, great combination where you're able to chase down a hero, close that gap pretty quickly, and then lock him down with the Beastmaster ultimate. They are going to go for a Necronomicon build. Again, does that change anything for Vici Gaming, specifically the Invoker? With this Quas Wex build, does playing around a Necronomicon change your playstyle at all?
I don't think it really does. You can't really do much about it. I think you can still play aggressively if you're him, but you just kind of have to have the better jumps. And the thing that's a little bit boring for me is that Silent's opting to actually go for a mech, and he picks up the Bracer as well just for these early stats. And I think that Empire realized that they've gotten enough of a lead in the early game to kind of pull ahead, and they don't need to risk anything. Like Silent, pick up a mech, take fights early on in 5-on-5 engagements, and there's no way that Vici are going to contest you just because Vici at this point, they can't commit 5 people. Like, what is How going to bring to a fight? Yeah. Like, he has to spend the next 6 or 7 minutes just catching up. And so if you know that, and if you know that Vici are not going to engage you that early, I think going for this mech choice by Silent is really intelligent here.
Yeah, and it also makes him significantly tankier. The question is, will his mana be able to deal with that kind of amount? Now, Always One Fly is going to come in. He's actually going to spoil, will not spoil this smoke gank. Is still, we do have Silent caught out. He's trying to get off the ultimate, but of course the Cold Snap will do its work, not allowing him to get it off, and of course the EMP is also slowing him down. Now, How also rotated down to this bottom lane. He's going to get an additional kill onto Always One Fly thanks to the slow. Vici Gaming, I think they've read Empire very well. Despite the fact that Empire were ahead, they know that Empire is still willing to group up. So Vici Gaming are just basically attacking with overwhelming odds, right? They're just running 3 or 4 heroes into Empire right away, saying, hey, we're going to bring more odds now. And Ice is going to get wiped out here pretty quickly, but Yoki is still caught, will be blown up by the EMP. Aloha Dance now going to be slowed down as well, just has enough for a snowball, which may delay his death, but it looks like he's going to fall no matter what. He's got the urn taken down on him, but Resolution, unless he does something big here, they get the stun onto Super, maybe they could get the turnaround kill, and they do. Invoker falls thanks to Resolution's pickup. Now Silent gets the nuke onto How with the slow on the boar as well. How is going to go down. He doesn't have a doppelganger. There's no way out of this one. 7-7, 11.5 minutes in an Empire. I was going to say Vici Gaming hit pretty hard with like bringing 4 heroes to these fights and just kind of overwhelming Empire, but it seems like Empire's still able to strike back pretty hard.
Yeah. And I mean, right now it's just the fact that Resolution is hitting some pretty good timings of how long. It's also based on the fact that how long Silent was able to live there, right? Like they've had plenty of time to come in and rotate, and Always Want to Fly was such a low level that he was able to like respawn, come back into that fight, and make a contribution as well. And so, Vici, I think, are getting a little bit too antsy and over-aggressive because of their poor laning phase. And I mean, How had to rotate for that as well, and he was able to provide some lances, and it helps, but at the same time, he still continues not to get a lot of farm. And he dies for that engagement as well. So things don't go the best for him, but at the same time, it's okay for Vici because they need to do something to stop the bleeding. Like, you can't just have Empire constantly rotate on you and you live in a state of fear, right? Like, you have to get aggressive at some point in the game.
So basically, I think what you're saying, it comes down to that Vici Gaming, it's the right response from them to go for that kind of like play at bottom where they move a bunch of heroes down there. They just got to control it a little bit more. If they hadn't fed away so many kills and going for the toss, they would have been good.
Yeah, exactly. I think that what they did there was fine, but then going after that point was just a little bit too risky. Yeah. You have to assume at that point, like once you're diving past the tier 1, a team's going to respond.
They did try and rotate up to top lane, see if they could catch out How. They've even got some nice aggressive vision behind the tower area. to see any rotations. They know Hao is completely alone, and if they can force him to doppelgang and then catch him from the side with the support rotating around behind the tower, it'll be a pretty easy pickup, especially since Bane does have that level 6. Meanwhile, Vici Gaming, you kind of said it, they need to be able to, they can't 5-ban into Empire necessarily, so they're trying to utilize as many of the early smokes to get pickoffs. Unfortunately, this one is not going to pan out. Both FY and Fenrir, despite the fact that they have this Blink Dagger up on the Sand King, will not find a kill.
Yeah, that's a pretty pivotal pickup for FY, getting that Blink Dagger at a reasonable time, but the problem is he hasn't been able to do much with it. He's looking around the map to try to collapse on top of Empire, but Empire is so smart.
Oh no! He's blocked out by the zombie! Oh, he had the opportunity in middle lane. FY's actually going to make the jump on a Resolution. Pops the epicenter, will be able to get it off. Is stunned in place though, and Resolution does get far enough away that FY, his epicenter, loses a lot of its damage and will not be able to get that kill. Tornado, ooh, Snowball actually dodge it. They'll get super, but they don't have any vision, so he will get away with a little bit of help from his allies, and the rest of Vici Gaming are squaring up in this jungle, but as I say that, Hao starts backing himself away. Maybe they'll respond as Empire start moving forward. FY blinks out. Fenrir could be caught. They get one nuke on him. Silent, slowing him down just a little bit. But the rest of Empire are going to have to chase pretty deep if they want to catch this one. And Super's there with the slow. They'll still catch Fenrir in the end. Vici Gaming not able to provide a response. Super just kind of slows them down. But the retreat from Empire is still successful. They get the one pick off, and they call it good.
Yeah, and that's, again, even under the observation of this ward. I said that weird because it's called an observer ward. They were under the ward and they still weren't able to get out in time, and it's just, it speaks to Empire's chase ability. Like, the Luna is so quick, right? Like, the move speed is 380. There's no way that a Rubik is going to be able to walk away from that. And Empire, again, the best part about this is that Resolution didn't die from that epicenter, right?
Yep.
So they know that there's no defense for this tier 1 tower. And I think that with this, I think this should be a tier 1 tower down, but maybe not with Super coming in.
Oh, the Snowball goes down, dodges something, but he's going to grab Resolution just before the EMP, and that is huge. No, actually the Burrow Strike comes in. FY stuns up both of them. The Ice Shards go out, but it's not enough to kill Super just yet on the left-hand side. Oh, what a steal from Fenrir. He gets the ultimate for Yoki, turns it around, and kills one, gets the other. FY held in place by the Bane. Unfortunately, Fenrir, nothing he can do about that one. His support buddy will end up going down to sleep on Fenrir. Looks like they're going to back away. Hao does get the kill on the Tusk at the same time. Backing out, always want to fly, not going to be caught by Fenrir, who had no mana in the first place. A 3-for-4 exchange. A lot of that, though, coming down to the big play from Fenrir. This guy right here, stealing Sonic Wave and turning it around on Empire, provided such a huge impact.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. For him to be able to read that presence of mind, and I said that weird. He read that situation well, and he had the presence of mind to wait it out and wait for the Queen of Pain ultimate, because he knew it was coming. Like, his entire team was stacked up.
Sure.
But something as well is that they had to go for the Undying first. But, I mean, Ice did his job. Like, he threw down his tombstone, he got like 2 decays off, he got his ultimate off, and at that point, it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, if you go for Ice, great, you're going for an Undying.
In range, he sees him, will be able to lock down Hao with the burn as well as the axes. Hao has no mana to be able to get away. He will be chased down. The last nuke from Silent will give him the kill, and that will now get him drums as well as mech. I actually want to take a small break here, Blitz, and talk about these two items. It's actually the same item on 2 different heroes. The drums onto Luna, which I can kind of get because we're seeing a lot of team fight items built out of her. The whole mech into drums makes a lot of sense, but the drums on the Phantom Lancer, do you think that's simply because there is no better item for stats?
I think it's that, and just the fact that he's had such a rough game. He needs something to be able to fight into the mid-game presence. So
they see Ice. They lay down the counter ward. They knew something funny was up, and they will be able to catch him, but do they get the kill? The tombstone's laid down. It looks like Aloha Dance. He says, nope, that's not where I want to be. Unfortunately, FY is going to keep him there, whether he likes it or not. 12-12 now as Vici Gaming go from a potential pickoff on their offlaner to turning it around thanks to the help from FY.
And this is the miserable part about playing against an Undying. Like, Ice didn't get a lot of farm, failed 2 rotations, and got solo killed, but it doesn't even matter. Like, once he throws on the tombstone, you're never going to fight into that.
True.
Like, it's pretty much a dead zone at that point. And so for a Tuskar to be solo caught out there, like, he's not going to get out. Like, his team's just going to ditch him at that point. It's a lost cause.
Something important I want to talk about the net worth wise is looking really good for Empire at first glance, right? Top 3 in the net worth board, really good, but both Invoker and Phantom Lancer are very close to closing that gap. It's 200 gold between the top 3 and the following 2. But then on top of that, you also have a very big difference in the supports on the side of Vici Gaming. You've actually got 4.5k on the Sand King, to be expected, but nobody on the side of Empire, the supports at least, can match that. They're both sitting at a very low 2400, bottom 2.
Yeah, but this rotation might actually break things open for Empire right now, as they know that Hao is in the jungle. They're double smoked up, and they don't want to find FY because he should be able to blink out of this, and the Hawk's going to get sent forward.
Oh, they see him first, FY. Oh, they managed to get the vision out. Blinks to the side, FY. Still going to be kind of caught. He does get the ultimate out, and FY is done for. I think he assumed that he was kind of safe inside the trees, but of course the Hawk gives the vision, and he was unable to burrow strike ahead of that Beastmaster ultimate.
Yeah, but still not the ideal pick off if you're Empire, because you wanted to go for Hao. Like, you have to stop down this farm. Slow down his farm at some time, just because he's about to pick up a defusal, and once he has that, I mean, Silent hasn't gone for DPS build.
Nice. He's caught here. The Bean's Creep was laid down on him. Now Silent takes a huge amount of damage. He will be able to get off the mech, but it seems like that is only delaying the inevitable as Vici Gaming lay out the nukes to take him down. Always want to fly, also going to be caught as well. The Fiend's Grip, again, trying to go for the Undying, but it turns out to be a bit of a trap. They throw the Fiend's Grip on him. He survives through the whole entire thing. And, of course, Vici Gaming, during that 5 seconds, do respond and get off a beautiful tornado out from Super. He's been on the mark with those every time.
Yeah, and the problem right now is that Silent isn't really your 1 position anymore. It's more like he's your 2 position because he's gone for all of these items that don't do anything. I was kind of a fan of a mech, but at the same time, the Invoker plus the Undying make kind of an unpushable lineup. Like, you're never going to straight up fight into a tier 1 into that. And so I think it's become kind of useless. And then going for the drums on top of it, it just slows down his item timing so much.
So now when you look, despite the fact that they're on the same net worth, carry versus carry, Luna versus Phantom Lancer, it just seems like, and in reality it is actually that way, that Phantom Lancer is very much farther ahead of Luna when it comes to carry potential. He's about to pick up his Diffusal Blade, which obviously changes a lot for him, while the Luna still doesn't have that first damage item. You've got some survivability, but you don't have any sort of noticeable transition going to the full carry status.
Yeah, and it just feels like it takes too long for Empire's heroes to be able to kill Vici's heroes, and they 4-man smoked over here, and
Vici get a good enough catch here. They've got the Luna ultimate. Super is going to be the first one. Hey, smoke pop. Oh, tornado, but the snowball comes through. They pop the ultimate out from Silent to Ice. Gets off the tombstone, though. They're trying to focus down, and they will get Super. Meanwhile, the Fiend's Grip on Fenrir. They'll get 2. Ice will make it a 3rd. FY, the only hope to get out of this one, but he is locked down by the urn of the damage coming in. He's not going to be able to get out. Hao is still dishing out a good amount of damage on Always Want to Fly, but the snowball will save him, redirecting the damage onto that runner. And Hao will be the last to fall. A complete wipe there as Vici Gaming only pick up the Beastmaster. An excellent smoke gank there from Empire.
Yeah, and you notice what they do? They make sure that something is on top of the Sand King at all times, so they don't get too over-aggressive, ignore him, and then FY comes in with a big epicenter.
True.
You haven't seen that this entire game. Like, he hasn't had any opportunities to open up with it, and it's just Yoki blinking in super aggressively and knowing that his team is going to back him up there. And this time, they lock down Fenrir. They're like, we are not going to let you steal Sonic Wave.
Nope.
That absolutely wrecked us in that last fight. Just kill, get him out of the way. It doesn't matter if you blow a Fiend's Grip. It's just a numbers game for Empire at this point.
All right, so that means that Luna can start building towards that BKB, which is obviously so essential versus a Diffusal, as well as all of the damage coming out from the Invoker. And then a big plus for Yoki. We saw how aggressively he blinked in. Now he doesn't even have to worry so much about allied backup because he's got the Aegis in his hand, so he can just kind of YOLO in with that Orchid and go for the pickoff. And if he dies, well, he's got that extra life. Resolution almost died in the top lane. Looks like Tusk came in to help him out. Super is going now for that aggressive single target pickoff with the Orchid and Ghost walking around. This is a classic Quaswex Invoker play.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job of at least putting pressure on the Beastmaster to not be able to solo push that lane out, but the fights, I mean, Empire, Silent's going to go for this BKB, and so he's got 3 items that don't really contribute damage to him, and he's going to be a little bit reliant on his ultimate. I think this is where Vici still have a relative opening because their Phantom Lancer is still gearing up entirely towards like the mid/late game, right? Like once he gets his Diffusal Blade, that's an item he can use later on. The drums are always okay on him, so I think with this type of setup, he's okay with how the speed of the game is going. Like obviously you're down 3 kills and you gave up a Roshan, but you've still got a Phantom Lancer that's building a little bit more towards the late game than a Luna is.
Yeah, especially since, like, just to build on that, the BKB pickup on Luna, that's supposed to kind of ensure that you have, you're not instantly bursting down these team fights, right, that you survive long enough to get the full duration of your ultimate. Well, that ultimate really isn't that useful if Hao has a lot of Phantom Lancer illusions out there. It's obviously going to be heavily mitigated, so it seems that, you know, on top of a lack of physical damage, the ultimate's not going to do much. Ice? Ooh, almost dropping there. The tornado is not going to catch Yoki as he runs deep down. The courier's trying to scout him out. Yoki will run in, do some more damage to Ice, and blinks himself to the side, where he's got the help of the Bane Vici Gaming. Group up as 4 to defend Ice, and they will do so successfully, but don't manage to get a counter kill, and that obviously creates a lot of space on the top lane, which is being farmed up by the Beastmaster. Obviously, we'd rather see Silent getting a lot of free farm out, but it's still something.
Yeah. It's just, in both games, you've seen back and forth kills, like it's 18 to 15 at 23 minutes, and I think it just reflects how close these teams are. And in the second game, it feels like Vici have kind of kicked it up a notch. Their draft looks a lot more solid, but it just feels like Empire are kind of outmaneuvering them by a little bit.
Man, that Hawk is just setting up so much for Empire. They see everything that's going on here for Vici Gaming. They're just trying to figure out what's the best way to initiate. Looks like they tried to go for FY. FY will find the space to blink out and will survive. Now, Hao's going to turn around. Always want to fly a bit too far forward. The snowball will save him. They're straight for Fenrir, but a Burrow Strike will hold both of them in. The supports behind enemy lines will end up going down. Now they're trying to focus on the Tombstone, but realize it's too late. Who cares if we kill the Tombstone? Vici Gaming are a hungry beast looking for more. They're trying to catch up the resolution. At the same time, want to go for Yoki. The split there from Empire seems to be very successful. They keep all their cores alive. But it did cost them, obviously, their 2 supports plus the BKB charge out from Luna.
They definitely should have ran at that point. There was no way that they were going to win that fight. Snowballing in, yeah, it kind of saves your Bane for like half a second, but then you realize your 2 support heroes behind enemy lines, and the rest of your team is dealing with the Tombstone. There's almost no chance at that point of fighting, and I think they have to be a little bit more careful, and it looks like they're actually going for this rotation on Super and middle.
Super's going to be orchided up. He turns around the orchid onto Yoki to prevent any further burst damage. Burrow Strike onto 2 now. FY still spotted out, but the tornado to intercept. Good cover back and forth, but it seems FY still going to be caught. Resolution does end up going to sleep. He stays up for the time being. The Lance will end up getting the kill. The Tombstone right in front, though. Now going to be able to chase down Aloha. Dance delays his death with a snowball. Yoki managed to get the kill on Super. Slowed up. Back over to the snowball. He's in right in deep. Underneath that Tombstone. Yoki back and forth, but the FY stun is going to be able to hold in that Queen of Pain. There goes the Aegis. Aloha Dance still being chased away by Hao. Aloha Dance will go down eventually here, especially with the rest of Vici Gaming catching up. So they get the Aegis. They get 2 different pickoffs, and all they lost was Super. Not too bad.
If you're Vici Gaming, you're entirely happy with that trade just because of the fact that you didn't lose Hao. Hao is in the middle of that. Super goes down, yeah, but at the same time, you take down Resolution, who's not picking up a lot of levels, and as the game progresses again, Silent is going to get a little bit less effective, and at bottom lane...
Yeah, he's going to be forced into a BKB potentially here. Looks like the mech was good enough. Hao doesn't want to dive in too deep, but you can just, I mean, just that 1v1, it's not a great example, but you can just feel that the Phantom Lancer is a much higher impact in these fights more consistently, right? If they manage to get like a really good play where they see what's coming from Vici Gaming and they lead with the Luna ultimate and, you know, pop some really important hero or do a bunch of damage to Phantom Lancer, sure, things are going to look really good and the Luna will have a big impact. But most of the time, Hao is providing a lot bigger impact, and that's going to continue as time goes on and Phantom Lancer begins to get a larger amount of farm that I personally feel is more impactful on the Phantom Lancer than it is on the Luna.
Oh, definitely, and it's just the item build as well. So Silent going to push out this bottom lane, and Empire trying to get control of their jungle again as Resolution just kind of sends his boars, figure out what's going on, and he's going to go top and try to pick up some farm, but they need a better way to initiate as well, and I think this is it. Resolution is picking up a Blink Dagger, so they have a better way to start these fights so that it's not just Yoki hard committing with the Blink in with the Orchid. Like, they need something to follow him up, and the supports from Empire are too poor to be able to afford things like Blink Daggers, whereas Vici Gaming supports, like this Sand King's got a Blink Dagger of his own, this Rubik's almost got a Force Staff, like they actually have mobility.
Going to make it rough for Team Empire. Fortunately, they do still have the lockdown of the Beastmaster and the Tusk, especially with Resolution now getting the Blink Dagger. That's going to help counter a lot of the mobility picked up by Vici Gaming, but it's still going to be a big issue, particularly for Luna, as, you know, it's still very dependent on that ultimate. especially since it's now level 3, not a whole lot of physical damage. These supports are just looking to stay ahead of that ultimate a lot of the times.
Yeah, they're going to get aggressive in their jungle again. But FY, this entire time, instead of farming, he's just been camping behind Hao, and it looks like everyone from Empire is smoked up.
Oh, they chase away FY and will catch Hao. Good combination there. I love that play. Empire scattered out both of the threats of Vici Gaming. Silent forces back FY, who defensively blinked away, and then the snowball chasing down Hao, who couldn't really do anything, and without a burrow strike interception, there's no way he gets rid of that stun lock.
Yeah, and FY has been pretty much placed on the defensive this entire game. We haven't seen him get really big epicenters off. And then on top of that, he was forced to buy back for that mid engagement as well, where they only took down the Aegis, so not really characteristically like good game for FY. He's kind of just had the rough end of it, and at this bottom push as well, he has to have a pretty big ultimate to be able to do anything, but the Hawk should spot him out.
Yep. And it also spots out the Tornado EMP that was coming through. Empire completely dodged that one and will now set up camp on this tier 2. Unlikely that Vici Gaming try and play defense. Maybe if they hit a good EMP, they loosen up Empire's hold on that part of the region and they could actually try and fight, but that's definitely not the case, especially with Hao being down. So Ice is going to be picking up a pipe here. Actually right now, so the Greaves plus the pipe, a lot of team fight items being grabbed by this Undying, but is it going to be enough to save him? Yoki is able to get close enough to Ice to see him, but can't actually slow him down. Resolution coming through with the haste, but Yoki has just managed to blink into 2 here, in some serious trouble. He pops the BKB, but it doesn't matter. The physical damage is too much. They get a little overzealous in their attempt to chase down the Undying. It seems like that's the kryptonite right now for Empire. This game would be looking really good in their favor, but we've had 3 fights I can count just off the top of my head where they go for the Undying, and it ends up being very sour for them.
Yeah, the counter initiation of the hero is too strong. Like, if Yoki blinks in aggressively like that, he has to be absolutely certain that that's a game-winning fight. I could have just said uncharacteristically bad, by the way, earlier. I was like,
yeah, characteristically good.
Oh my gosh, something is wrong with me today, but
that's okay, Blitz. You're providing excellent insight, even if you're trying to speak half Korean.
So Empire right now, they're in this area.
Oh, Aloha Dance. They throw down a ward, they see that one. Aloha Dance does not want to be a part of this. I love, by the way, the Glimmer Cape on the Tusk. So strong. I mean, he's already has so many different escape mechanisms, particularly the Snowball, but the Glimmer Cape just makes things exponentially harder for Vici Gaming to lock down that support.
Yeah, and if you notice Vici's lineup as well, I don't think they have a Necrobook 3, right? And they definitely don't. And they also don't have sentries or anything like that, so that Glimmer Cape is going to pay huge dividends, especially against the Sand King. Once you're glimmered up, you've got a ton of magic resistance as well. So heroes like the Beastmaster he doesn't have a BKB quite yet, so you get Glimmer Caped, you'll negate a lot of the damage, and you'll still be able to get your ultimate off. I think the hero synergizes well with it as well, and so FY, they're kind of just slowing down the pace of this game right now, as Vici Gaming just continue to farm out their jungle and kind of wait for Empire to get over-aggressive like they have been.
Now, as the game slows down, who do you think that favors? Is it Vici Gaming because they, were behind, not by a massive amount, but they are behind in net worth and experience? Or does it favor Empire, who had this Luna, who's a pretty good late game carry? I just feel it doesn't match up Phantom Lines.
If FY had more farm, I would say that Vici pretty much secured this win for themselves, just because he can do so much, but he's only got a Blink Dagger. Like, how often do you see FY at this amount of farm, right? Like, this is pretty rare for him, but right. The Phantom Lancer, they don't really have the best answers for him, again, just because of the Luna building up the way that she did, and Resolution hasn't had as good of a game like he did last time. So, 5-man smoke gank right now for Vici.
Trying to decide, do they want to go Roshan? Do they want to go for a pick-off first? Obviously, if you can get a really good core pick-off and back up to Roshan, that's the ideal situation out of this smoke, but they're not finding anybody. And I think one of the biggest problems is they don't have a particularly strong Roshan taking lineup, right? The Zombie doesn't do anything. Phantom Lancer is very poor as a carry. And really, it's just the best is Super. Now, Tornado is going to catch Aloha Dance. EMP thrown down. He will be ordered up, unable to do much. The Glimmer Cape goes out and will manage to survive, in part thanks to the sleep. Now, always want to fly. Well, he just pays for it deedily. Tries to save his ally's support, but ends up going down alongside him. 2 heroes down. Vici Gaming swarming through, hoping to be able to catch some more cores, and they just might. as Yoki is hiding himself in the corner. He's got a blink ready to go and will not get it off in time. The Burrow Strike catches him, and they get a third kill. Plus, they steal. This is big. PanDarea managed to get the blink. Even more mobility on this support.
Yeah, so he's out now. He's got a blink and a force staff for the initiation, and it's going to be hard for Empire to lock him down on top of everybody else that they have to lock down. And you're just kind of seeing the weakness of this Bane plus this Tuskar combination.
Uh-oh, Silent forced into a BKB, and FY. That was a very aggressive blink by him. I don't think he actually knew anything. They didn't have any vision there, so he just blinked up and just kind of spooked the Luna, and will manage to back out before he's harmed in any way.
Again, like I was saying, you're seeing Vici supports just do a little bit more than Empire supports. Like, the Tuskar doesn't have enough farm to be able to do anything. The Bane, he's got a Solar Crest and he's level 11. You're not going to get away from heroes like Undying, plus the combination of Invoker and the Sand King. Like, there's just too many lockdown abilities for them to be able to do much. And so it really comes down to Empire getting the jump before Vici do.
Do you think the Solar Crest was the right item? I can see the line of thought, right? The Luna is having a hard time surviving in these fights. The evasion is big versus the Phantom Lancer and all those illusions. I can see the vein of thought, but do you think mobility would have been better for the Bane in this game?
I think he's so poor that it doesn't matter what he goes for at this point.
Okay.
Like, he just doesn't have enough farm to be able to really contribute at this point. Like, he has to just be a hero that stays in the back, tries to get good opportunities with his Nightmare off, and then you just hope to God that a fight lasts long enough where you can get like 8 brain saps off. And that's your contribution to that fight. And maybe you get a Fiend's Grip.
I mean, that's going to be a hard one to actually achieve in one team fight, but seems like Empire did exactly that. Vici Gaming are taking control of this game, it seems pretty handedly, as they push down the bottom tier 2. Doesn't look like Empire want to fight, so instead they push in the middle tier 2 tower. They're just not doing it nearly as fast as Vici Gaming, who are swarming these buildings with both the Phantom Lancer, his illusions, as well as Super Sandwich, who not only have the double damage, but also that alacrity to contribute to the fights as well. Now they start going for the tier 3. The tier 2 in the middle lane isn't even down yet, and Empire already have to back up to play defense. Tombstone laid out. No one really wants to fight into this one. They throw the board forward to try and do damage to the Tombstone, but it's not going to be enough. That's for sure. Aloha Dance, always want to fly, actually caught. Telekinesis blown up nice and quick. Undying Soul Rip, more than enough damage. Seems like how? Well, he put himself pretty far forward there, but no response. As they do manage to get out, now focusing down that melee racks, and it seems like Yoki, well, it clears through a lot of it, but the pipe comes out at the same time, giving them even more. Taking instant snowball, rolls right through. Yoki gets a not really nice frame, but it takes that resolution. He couldn't lock him down. He got orchid it up. Super's going to be able to stay up in this fight. Now Silent in the middle of everything pops the ultimate, but there's so many units around. Can he actually get some real damage on anybody? How is on top of him still? Will be able to get that kill on Silent. Doesn't fall. They'll get the laner racks, and it seems like Empire, they don't have buybacks. This could even not be the game, but such a crippling loss there for Empire that they may just give up right away.
Yeah, things just get worse if you're Empire, because, again, you haven't built for the late game. Yoki is kind of your best damage dealer at this point.
Oh no, another pick-off Resolution. They back up and then reinsert Resolution, slow down, orchid it up, and the Phantom Lancer illusion will be able to chase him down. Always want to fly, also going to be caught. Telekinesis gets him. The only survivor being the Queen of Pain. Again, Empire only really still in this because they have their tier 2 towers up. Vici Gaming can't really do anything with these pickoffs.
Yeah, and I think that both of Empire's supports, it wasn't the best game for a Tusk and a Bane, just because they've been kind of put into this defensive position that Aloha Dance is trying to use the snowball to save his teammates, but what ends up happening is he just snowballs them deeper into enemy lines. They get blown up, and then it becomes a 3v5, and I think a large part of this just comes down to Undying. Like, this is why the hero is favored so much. Right. You can't fight into it. If you initiate on it, he survives for too long, and he almost always gets his tombstone off. Like, there's just too many things that are difficult to fight into him. And how, I mean, he had such a rough start, but he was so persistent with his build, and now he's finally made a force in this game, and he's actually taken over the top net worth chart.
Yeah, it's finally overtaking the Luna by about 200 gold, but you can see overall the big picture, team net worth heavily going to the favor of Vici Gaming. They have a severe drop of over 10,000 gold in the last 10 minutes. Now they're holding about a 7,500 gold lead and over a 12,000 experience lead, 37.5 minutes into this game. Now Empire doesn't seem like they have any way to win the mid game, which I believe was kind of their idea from the start, right? They've got some decent ore in Beastmaster, a good like mid-game pushing hero in the Luna. Do you think Empire really have that good of a shot if they manage to push this late and just turtle it out? Do you think they can actually take late game against Vici Gaming?
No, I think the Phantom Lancer is just too strong against the heroes that they have right now. Resolution's impact, you're just not feeling it. When the roar is being used to like stop them.
Snowball on 2, that's a good setup, super. They're not going to be able to do anything with it though. He's still got that BKB. Burrow strike in, always when a fly is going to go down as well. 2 supports easily cleaned up, and Empire don't really have any response now as Vici Gaming just swarming past the tier 2 into the tier 3, no problem, as House just too big.
Yeah, and again, if you're using the roar just to kind of like stop the bleeding, you've probably lost the game with the Beastmaster. Like, you have to kind of use it more to initiate. Every single time, like he's been using it in these fights, he kind of stops somebody for half a second, and then the rest of Vici Gaming swarms on top of the other heroes. And right now, Silent isn't doing enough damage. He doesn't survive for long enough, even with the BKB. And Ice is built almost entirely defensively. He's got the Guardian Greaves, a Pipe, and a Shiva's Guard. Like, he's built the best utility items for this game.
Yeah, and I think that works so well with the Phantom Lancer, who has kind of naturally weak stats. Now, Silent's going to be caught. Good blink in. Telekinesis out from Fenrir, leading that fight, and will ensure now another lane of Rags goes down. And sure enough, there it is. Empire call it GG. Game number 2 goes to Vici Gaming.
Yeah, and FY going to throw out the celebratory ultimate, but it's not going to mean much, as Empire, I really felt like this was their game to win as well. Like, this was a game that they felt like they should have had more opportunities to win than they did.
Yeah, I completely agree. Vici Gaming managed to just ride through that kind of rough first 20 minutes. I mean, it was a significant lead. They almost like had a 5,000 goal